Today we's going to talk about disk testing and attempting data recovery because I have both of those things to do. So typically a lot of the older software that you're still going to find works best on older equipment. I typically recommend a board like this one, which is a Gigabyte's, what is this? GA-G31M. It is a Core 2, so it's LGA 776 or whatever it is. So these are ideal because they have both SATA and PATA on board. So you can do both types of drives. And also, the software still supports the chipsets that these use. So some of the software like SpinRite and some of the stuff on the Ultimate Boot CD don't support a lot of the newer chipsets. So generally 776 or whatever, or earlier with SATA on it. As AMD boards will work too, like the AM2s are fine. But some of the features of the software don't really work on some of the later chipsets, in which case you'd probably want something like a slot 1 board or a socket 370 or a AMD 462 or slot A or whatever, because they are more compatible with some of the features of some of the software on some of these disks. Specifically things like HDAT, which is one of the go-to tools I have. On this board, if I try to run the HPA removal, the host protected area, if I try to turn that off and take it off, it doesn't work. So I generally have to use a socket 370 board for that, or just anything, pre, Core 2. So stuff like that you're going to have to run into every now and then. But we're going to do this drive. It's an old U8, or U6 rather. I think they made a U8. I know they made a U10. Anyways, this is an 80 gig drive. I picked it up at a flea market. Don't know if it works or not. It's fine either way, because I can tear it down if nothing else. So now we've got this opened up. We've got the Ultimate CD ready to go. This board also does USB boot support, which is good. So you could either use a USB disk like the awesome disk drive here, or you can try to put the ISO on a flash disk and use it that way. So let me plug this junk in and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Alright, so hard drive's plugged in, lights turned off so it doesn't reflect quite so harshly on the screen here. So we're just going to go ahead, pop this closed. We got the Ultimate Boot CD 5.11 in there. There might be a new version, but that's the one I got. So that's what we're using. Well, it sounds like the hard drive spun up. F12. There we go. Hard disk. Diagnosis. 453 there. Like I said, there might be a new version, but this one still works. 4.8 is not functional apparently. We don't need any drivers at the moment. HDAT2. And there's our disks. You can see we got an exclamation point there on the hard disk. So I don't know if I can set this particular drive. Yeah, this board doesn't let you run the HPA on PATA drives, so it's not a big deal. Normally, the HPA, when it's set real small like this, is for internal use for vendors and things to put some metadata. So it's usually not a big deal. So it did say there were some smart errors, so let's look at smarts. And yeah, it's definitely some errors. Reallocations, spin up retry, huh? Power cycle's low. Hours are low. I'm pretty sure Seagate records hours. And not like some of the other vendors will record like seconds or deciseconds or some crazy crap. So it'll got like 20 million hours or some crap on a 5-year-old drive. It's like, no, they're just weird. Fujitsu is really bad about it. Current pending sectors, EDMA CRC. That one's generally a cable fault. But let's go back out of here. Yes. So we're just going to give this a wipe and see what it does. Looks like it's got some hiccups there. Yeah, a few hiccups. So we'll let it run, see what it looks like. Well, that's not a good prize. So it looks like this hard drive is no good. Yeah. So we're going to get to tear this one down. Hooray. Everyone's super excited about that. These are pretty basic drives. But yeah, we'll do that later. But there's no point running SpinRite on this one. So I'll just force power this off and plug in a different disk. Right, when I bought this mess of drives, I got like 6 of them or so. I really wanted this one the most because this is the last of the quantum hard drives, more or less. This is the D540. It's the 80 gig. It's 5400 RPM, so it's not the fast one, but it's still a good drive. And the 80 gigs was as good as these got. So I'm hoping this one's good. Let's find out. I think the jumpers are set wrong, but it's not a big deal. Now I could run PowerMax or what is it, the C Tools, one of the later versions that from after Seagate bought Mac Store. It should recognize these, but I'm not going to because I don't want to. This is a better program, but it does say we got some smart issues here. UDMA CRC errors generally mean your cable's not good, but those are permanent errors, so it's going to show 2 errors regardless of what the computer actually does. If you replace the cable, it's still going to show 2 errors. But this drive looks like it only has 4,700 hours and 3,900 power cycles. How many start stops? 4,100. So it's still a pretty young drive. So let's go ahead and wipe it. And those are normal clicks. But this one still has the nice little green light that all the old Quantums do. So far it seems alright, so we'll just come back when it's done. Sad news. The Mac Store / Quantum decided that it doesn't want to show up anymore. And it doesn't really post properly either. It just kind of clicks a little bit and then stops. It got to about 30% of the wipe and then it quit. So I assume it was just a victim of rough handling. They're normally pretty good drives. But yeah, these came out of a flea market, and a lot of those guys are not super keen on handling things gently. You can see kind of right there where it might have been dropped or had something dropped on it. But, I mean, it sounds okay, it just doesn't want to live anymore, I guess. But we got 4 others. I don't think these guys work either, but we're going to try. So there's a Caviar 120 gig. I got these because they're PETA. There's a 120 gig Caviar. Here's a 500 gig. Ooh. Again, it's PETA, which is nice. And then there's a Death Star. This is that model. I don't think it's a 75 GXP. It's a little too much capacity for that. This might be the one that superseded it, but it's got some dings up there. So I think somebody was about to use these, and then they put them aside, and then they ended up in a flea market, and they're probably dead. So, and then here's a Seagate. This is a 120 gig 7200.7. So at the very least, it looks like the PCBs are good, but that's 6 more videos if if none of these work. So I'm just going to go ahead and go through these. Alright, this is that Death Star. Let's see what happens. Yeah, not a lot so far. Yeah, it didn't show up. Well, that's not nice. Curses. Well, let's try something else. Seagate time. What posted? Hey, it showed up. How about that? Yeah, and it's going to try to boot off of it. This will not end well. It should just go, yep, there we go. Straight into a reboot. got some reallocations, pending sectors, 20,000 hours. This hasn't been used all that much. It's probably just been abused. But let's give it a wipe. It definitely sounds like it's got some reallocations. But so far so good. We'll come back when it's done. This is going to take a minute. Alright, so the little Seagate finished, but now we have some errors. So whatever a data address mark error is flashing. So, but it finished, and now we're going to do SpinRite. So put in disk, escape, and reset. It should auto boot this time. We do level 4. Select and go. You can see where the drive was wiped with by HDAT. So we'll just let this go until it either has some problems or finishes. Well, it looks like the Seagate's dead too. We got a whole bunch of new reallocations, a bunch of bad sectors. That's a lot of bad sectors. So we're going to call this one bad too. So that's it's 4 for 6 so far. I'm going to be willing to bet that the other 2 are also bad. But hey, at least that's 6 new teardowns. So I'll try the other ones later. Alright, well, we're back at it. This is the WD-1200. So I don't hold out much hope for it, but we'll give it a whirl. That doesn't sound awesome. I missed it. Windows Server, huh? Alright, I'll come back when I get the HDAT loaded. Alright, so here we go. Take a look here. Smart says 42,000 hours. You know, it's got Windows Server on there, so that's not unsurprising. Only 32 start stops. Again, if it's a server, that's not all that surprising. Currently, everything is 0, more or less, so let's go ahead and do a wipe and see if that holds. Yes. Well, we'll come back when this is done. Right, well the wipe seemed to go without any problems. It went pretty smooth. Let's check smart. Yeah, there are no errors. So, it still sounds kind of funny, but can't do much about HPA. Yeah, smart says it's green. Let's see what SpinRite has to say. Alright, so we're at SpinRite, select level 4, and off we go. Yep, it's been wiped. Everything's hunky-dory. There are no recorded errors in Smart, so I'll let it go and see what it looks like when it's done. Well, to nobody's surprise, I'm sure, this thing's having some issues. It's already had at least 50 reallocations. So, and they're more or less sequential. Didn't take that long before it started to go bad. So, we're going to go ahead and call this one a wash too. Well, so that's 5 out of 6 bad. Unsurprising. I'm pretty sure they were just tossed, like literally tossed. So let's try the last one here, I guess. Right, here's the last one. This is the 500 gig Caviar SE. Don't hold out a lot of hope for it, mostly because of that little. See, that's kind of curved in. Pretty sure this took a fall as well. But, hey, fun times. See if it turns on even. Well, it spun up. And it's been detected. Apparently there's nothing on it. So I didn't try to boot from that first. Alright, so again, Smart says it's okay. Doesn't look like it's hardly had any use, which is sad. Although, power off, retract, load, unload. That suggests it is a ramp loader, so maybe it'll be okay. Maybe. Again, I don't hold out a lot of hope. I mean, it's really sad if it is bad, though, because it only has 800 hours on it. I mean, this thing was probably used for like a month, maybe a year, sparsely, and then thrown in the trash. So, sad. But let's go ahead and wipe it. And, well, I guess I'll come back when it's done. Well, just like last time, this one says it didn't have any problems, which is good. Smart says no problems. So let's see what SpinRite says. Alright, SpinRite. Off we go. So, again, we're starting with 0 errors. See, this is one of the last PATA drives you could get, and those generally went up to 133, but apparently this only does UDMA 5, which is 100, so I don't know if everyone gave up on UDMA 6 because it wasn't really worth bothering with, or if maybe it's just this drive doesn't. I don't know. I don't know. Because yeah, normally it'll tell you, you know, if the drive supports UDMA 5 but your board only does 4, then it'll say, you know, 4 out of 5 or whatever. But and so if this did 6, it should say, you know, 5 out of 6. But apparently the drive doesn't support UDMA 6, so it's disappointing. But yeah, it says it's going to take 40 hours. So yeah, we'll definitely have to come back for that one. Look, it's actually done. With no errors. Wow. So that should illustrate the stupid thing. Superiority of ramp loading drives versus CSS when it comes to shock. Dang. That thing's pretty quick. And maybe it just all goes into cache. This thing probably has a lot of cache. Anyway, so we got 1 out of 6 there. I'm still not going to trust this for anything mission critical, but it's 500 gig ATA drive, so I'll call it a win. Now to autopsy the other 5. Spoiler alert, it's probably impact damage.